Have you ever heard voices when you're all alone, like whispers on the edge of your hearing? Well, if you have, I'm guessing that you've just experienced something similar to what happened to me in this story. It all started one night not too long ago. I was driving home from a friend's house. It was late and the streets were empty. My car was nearly out of gas, and the nearest station was on the other side of town. As I drove, the engine sputtered. I'd made it almost to my street when suddenly the car died. I sighed. Now I was going to have to walk. Luckily, I lived in an old house that hadn't seen a new coat of paint in years, but it had high ceilings and thick walls, which meant that if I made it, I would be able to get inside and wait for daylight. As I stumbled up my driveway and fumbled for my keys, I noticed that the old house at the end of the street was silhouetted against the twilight sky. I'd always been drawn to the old house at the edge of town. It sat abandoned and decaying for decades, and even though it was just a crumbling shell now, I couldn't help but feel a sense of longing for it. Its gables were like gnarled fingers scraping against the darkening sky. Ivy climbed up its sides like grasping claws, but beneath all that decay, I could have sworn I saw the glimmer of something beautiful. And it wasn't just the setting sun reflecting off broken window panes. I could have sworn that the house itself was beckoning me closer. But I didn't go to it then or any other time. Not until now. With my front door finally open, I slumped to the floor against my door and pulled my knees to my chest. Breathing heavily, I tried to calm myself. Then I heard it. The faintest sound of a child's laughter drifted across the quiet street. At first, I thought it was the wind. There was a cold draft coming in under my door, and the wind chimes outside were clanging softly. But the laugh wasn't the wind. It was too human, too real. Then I heard footsteps, crunching on gravel, drawing closer. Someone was walking on the sidewalk in front of my house. I pressed my ear against the cool wood of my front door. The footsteps stopped directly in front of my house. Someone was standing on my lawn. "Hello," I called out, my voice echoing in the stillness. "Is anyone out there?" Only silence answered me. I waited, listening intently. Then I heard it again, that faint, sweet sound of childish laughter. I had to know who was out there. Clutching my flashlight, I crept toward my front door. With trembling hands, I unlocked it and stepped out into the darkness. I shone my flashlight down the street. Nothing. I walked to the front of my yard and looked around. All I saw were the swaying branches of the old oak tree and the roofline of the old house at the end of the street. And then I felt it. Something small and cold grabbed my shoulder. I whirled around, knocking over a flower pot in my haste. But when I turned back, there was nothing there. Then I heard it again. That whispery voice was right next to me. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. It sent shivers down my spine, and I backed away, stumbling over the flower pot. I tripped over the root of the oak tree, sending my flashlight clattering onto the sidewalk. I picked it up and shone it around frantically, but it revealed nothing except for more shadows. And then I felt it again, that tiny hand tugging on my shirt. I screamed and turned to see a small, pale hand reaching out from behind the bushes. Before I could react, another hand shot out and clamped over my mouth. I struggled, kicking out wildly until the hand holding my mouth retreated. Then the little hand reached out again, beckoning me toward the bushes. I hesitated, torn between fear and morbid curiosity. Was this some kind of sick joke played by whoever lived in my neighborhood? But the thought of finding out made me freeze. Then the little hand slipped out from behind the bush and beckoned again. This time, I followed. The thorns tore at my arms as I pushed aside the leaves, and when I saw what was on the other side, my breath hitched in my throat. Standing before me was a little girl, dressed in a nightgown. Her hair was long and tangled, her skin deathly pale. She smiled up at me, her eyes wide and shining, and then she whispered, "Don't go back." And as she faded into the darkness, I understood. The house at the end of the street wasn't just an abandoned building, it was a tomb, and we weren't supposed to be here. But it was too late for that now. The darkness was rising, and I knew that if I didn't get out of there, it would consume me whole. So I ran. I didn't stop running until I got home and locked all my doors. I never went back to that house, but sometimes when the wind blows through my window just right, I can still hear the whispers. What do you think happened to the narrator? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more terrifying tales.